Good morning. Today's lesson, adding and subtracting fractions. Firstly, add and subtract like fractions. The meaning of like fractions, they are fractions that have the same denominator. When we add and subtract like fractions, we write the denominator as the same and then add or subtract the numerators. For example, 4 over 9 plus 2 over 9. The two denominators here are the same. We write 9 as the same in the denominator and add 4 plus 2 equals 6. Another example, 4 over 9 minus 2 over 9. Also, the two denominators are the same 9. We write it as the same and then we subtract the two numerators. 4 minus 2 equals 2. Now, add and subtract unlike fractions. Unlike fractions, they are fractions that have different denominators. To add or subtract unlike fractions, we must make common denominator for the two fractions. We have two cases. The first case, if the greatest denominator is divisible by the smallest one, we use the greatest as a common denominator. And the second case, if the greatest denominator is not divisible by the smallest one, multiply the two denominators and use the result as a common denominator. For example, 4 over 9 plus 1 over 3. Here the two denominators are different and the greatest one is 9. And because 9 is divisible by 3, the greatest is divisible by the smallest, we use 9 as a common denominator. And because 9 multiply 1 equals 9 and 3 multiplied by 3 equals 9, also multiply the numerator 4 by 1 and here 1 by 3. 4 multiplied by 1 equals 4 and 1 multiplied by 3 equals 3. And then add the two fractions. The denominator is 9 and 4 plus 3 equals 7. Another example, 8 over 15 minus 1 over 5. Here also the greatest denominator is 15 and it is divisible by 5. For that we use 15 as a common denominator. And because 15 multiply 1 equals 15 and 5 multiplied by 3 equals 15, also multiply the numerators 8 by 1 and 1 by 3. 8 multiplied by 1 equals 8 and 1 multiplied by 3 equals 3. And now we subtract the two fractions. The denominator is 15, the same, and subtract 8 minus 3 equals 5. Another example, quarter plus 2/3. Here the greatest denominator is 4 and it is not divisible by 3. Because 4 is not divisible by 3, we multiply the two denominators. 4 multiplied by 3, the result will be 12, and use 12 as a common denominator. And because 4 multiplied by 3 equals 12 and 3 multiplied by 4 equals 12, we multiply the numerators 1 multiplied by 3 and 2 multiplied by 4. 1 multiplied by 3 equals 3 and 2 multiplied by 4 equals 8. And now we add the two fractions. The denominator is 12 and 3 plus 8 equals 11. Another example, 5 over 7 minus half. Also, the greatest denominator is 7 and it is not divisible by 2. For that we multiply 7 by 2, the two denominators. The result will be 14 and we use 14 as a common denominator. 7 multiplied by 2 equals 14 and also 2 multiplied by 7 equals 14. We multiply the numerators 5 by 2 and 1 by 7. 5 multiplied by 2 equals 10 and 1 multiplied by 7 equals 7. And now subtract the two fractions. The denominator is 14 and we subtract 10 minus 7 equals 3. Another example, 3 over 8 plus 1 over 4. 8 is divisible by 4. For that we use 8 as a common denominator. And 8 multiplied by 1 equals 8, and 4 multiplied by 2 equals 8. We multiply the numerator 3 by 1 and 1 by 2. 3 multiplied by 1 equals 3, and 1 multiplied by 2 equals 2. And now we add the two denominators, 8, and the numerator 3 plus 2 equals 5. Another example, 4 over 9 plus 1 over 6. Here 9 is not divisible by 6. For that we multiply 9 by 6. The result will be 54, and we use 54 as a common denominator. And because 9 multiplied by 6 equals 54, and 6 multiplied by 9 equals 54, also we multiply the numerator here 4 by 6 and 1 by 9. 4 multiplied by 6 equals 24, and 1 multiplied by 9 equals 9. And now we subtract the two fractions. The denominator is the same, 54, and we subtract 24 minus 9 equals 15. Another example, 7 over 8 minus 2 over 7. 8 is the greatest denominator and it is not divisible by 7. For that we multiply 8 by 7. The result will be 56. Use 56 as a common denominator. And because 8 multiplied by 7 equals 56, and 7 multiplied by 8 equals 56, multiply the numerator here 7 by 7, and 2 multiplied by 8. 7 multiplied by 7 equals 49, and 2 multiplied by 8 equals 16. Subtract the two fractions now. The denominator is 56, and we subtract 49 minus 16 equals 33. Another example, 1 over 10 plus half. 10 is the greatest denominator and it is divisible by 2. For that we use 10 as a common denominator. 10 multiplied by 1 equals 10, and 2 multiplied by 5 equals 10. For that we multiply 1 by 1 equals 1, and 1 multiplied by 5 equals 5. Now we add the two fractions. Denominator is 10, the same, and we add 1 plus 5 equals 6. This is the end of our lesson. Thanks.